Welcome to the Game Plots. I'm Anna, and I would love to introduce you to one of the most iconic games of all time, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Upon arriving at the airport, Carl takes a taxi to his mother's home, but his journey is disrupted when corrupt police officers from the crash unit, Frank Tenpenny, Eddie Pulaski, and Jimmy Hernandez, detain him. The officers rob him and threaten to frame him for murder unless he agrees to work for them whenever called upon. After being released with a warning that they will keep an eye on him, Carl heads to his mother's house and reunites with Big Smoke. He assures CJ that they will find out who is responsible for his mother's death, and together they attend the funeral where they meet up with Sweet, Kendall, and Ryder. Sweet is unhappy with Carl's return, accusing him of running away, while Kendall becomes fed up with Sweet's attitude and walks away. Suddenly, the Ballas gang initiates a drive-by shooting, wrecking Smoke's vehicle. CJ, Sweet, Smoke, and Ryder manage to escape and hurry back to Grove Street. Observing the condition of the gang, Carl chooses to stay and assist in rebuilding Grove Street. Initially, he undertakes smaller tasks like defacing rival gangs' graffiti, purging their territory of drug dealers, acquiring weapons from Emmett, and executing drive-bys in Ballas's area. Gradually, he takes on bigger operations, such as stealing weapons for his gang associates from different locations in Los Santos, with Ryder's assistance and accompanying Big Smoke on numerous deals. During this period, CJ reunites with an old friend and on-and-off gang member OG Locke, recently released from jail, who requests his help in killing his former cellmate. Later, CJ assists OG Locke in making a name for himself in the music industry by stealing equipment from a beach party and stealing rapper Mad Dog's rhyme book while also eliminating Dog's manager. While attending a house party thrown by OG Locke, a group of Ballas launch an attack on Grove Street, but CJ and Sweet successfully repel them. Afterward, Sweet approaches CJ and asks him to keep an eye on Kendall's new partner, Cesar Villalpando. Despite his initial reservations, Carl realizes that Cesar is a decent person who genuinely cares about Kendall. CJ eventually competes in a car race against Cesar, which solidifies their friendship. However, at the same time, Crash summons CJ and coerces him into assisting with their illicit operations, such as setting fire to a Vagos-occupied house and disrupting a meeting between the Ballas and Russian mafia. Subsequently, Sweet informs Carl that several high-ranking Ballas, including Kane, will attend Weasel's funeral. The brothers use this opportunity to assassinate them, thereby weakening their foes. Sweet, with the assistance of Big Smoke and Ryder, endeavors to reunite the three families set. Unfortunately, the police ambush the meeting, forcing the group to flee after an extended chase. After the Ballas suffer significant losses, Sweet decides that Grove Street is ready to reclaim control of Los Santos. However, before CJ can join his brother in the attack, he receives a call from Caesar, who requests a meeting in Verdant Bluffs. Just then, they witness Big Smoke, Ryder, Crash, and some Ballas departing from a garage that houses a green Sabre, the same car used in the drive-by. This revelation leads CJ to believe that Big Smoke and Ryder had betrayed Grove Street to the Ballas and that they had orchestrated the drive-by with Crash. CJ deduces that Sweet must have walked into a trap and rushes to save him, finding him badly wounded. Despite Sweet's orders to leave, CJ refuses and defends them both against several waves of Ballas. However, the police arrive and arrest CJ and Sweet. Sweet is taken to a prison hospital, while Crash transports CJ to Angel Pine, a small town located in the countryside of Whetstone, outside of Los Santos. CJ receives a warning from Crash not to return to Los Santos and seek revenge on Big Smoke, or else his brother Sweet will suffer in prison. Reluctantly, he continues to work for them. CJ decides to start earning money and contacts his friend Caesar, who suggests that he meet with his cousin Catalina. CJ partners with Catalina, and they engage in several small-time robberies together, briefly becoming romantically involved. Tenpenny summons Carl for another job and introduces him to the Truth, his marijuana supplier. Tenpenny wants CJ to help the Truth in producing a large amount of drugs for him. The Truth asks Carl to steal a combine harvester from a farm and deliver it to him, promising to call him back when the weed is ready. After this, CJ meets up with Cesar and Kendall and rents them a trailer home in Angel Pine while he searches for a better place for all of them to stay. After parting ways with Catalina, CJ begins competing in car races to earn some money. During one of the races, he meets Woozy, the leader of the Mountain Cloud Boys, a subsection of the San Fierro triads. In another race, CJ competes against Claude, Catalina's new boyfriend, and wins the deed to a garage in San Fierro. CJ then returns to the Truth, who informs him that the marijuana supply for Tenpenny is ready. Unfortunately, the police find out about the weed farm. To escape the police, CJ and the Truth are forced to destroy the marijuana fields before driving to Carl's newly acquired garage in San Fierro with the drugs. Upon arriving at the derelict garage in San Fierro, Carl is disappointed to find that it's in terrible condition. However, Kendall convinces him that they can turn it into a successful chop shop. Carl enlists the help of Dwayne and Jethro, two mechanics he knows from the Truth, as well as an electronics expert named Zero, to get the garage up and running. Soon after, Tenpenny contacts Carl and instructs him to use the marijuana he acquired from the Truth to frame a district attorney who has been investigating Tenpenny and Pulaski's corruption. Carl plants the drugs in the DA's car, leading to his arrest. Later, Tenpenny and Pulaski show up at the garage unannounced and force Carl to follow a reporter who has been investigating their illegal activities back to Los Santos. While in San Fierro, Carl purchases Zero's RC shop and aids him in defeating his rival, Berkeley, earning his respect. One day, Caesar informs Carl about a ballless car leaving Mulholland intersection and heading towards Angel Pine. CJ and Caesar follow it and take photos of a meeting between Ryder and some other men who are revealed to be the leaders of the Loco Syndicate, Jizzy B, T-Bone Mendez, and Mike Toreno. He infiltrates the organization by offering his services to Jizzy, completing several missions before gaining their trust and turning on them, killing Jizzy. Carl learns about the Syndicate's next meeting with the Ballas, which he ambushes with the help of Caesar and the Triads, killing T-Bone and Ryder. Carl later destroys Toreno's helicopter, seemingly killing him, as well as the Syndicate's drug factory, effectively putting them out of business. After eliminating the Loco Syndicate, Carl shifts his focus to expanding his business ventures. He purchases the Wang Cars dealership and enrolls in a driving school to improve his driving skills, which comes in handy when he and Cesar start stealing cars for the dealership. A while after, CJ receives a call from an unknown person who uses a distorted voice and orders him to go to a ranch in Tierra Robada. There, Carl is shocked to find Toreno alive, who introduces himself as the caller. Toreno confesses that he is an undercover agent and forces CJ to assist him in performing some dubious operations in return for Sweet's release. CJ has no option but to agree and completes several tasks for Toreno. Later, he is assigned to buy an abandoned airstrip and learn how to fly planes and helicopters, which helps him with his upcoming missions for Toreno. At the airstrip, the Truth pays CJ a visit and asks for his assistance in stealing a $60,000 jetpack from Area 69. With the help of the jetpack, Carl also manages to hijack a military train carrying a mysterious green substance and delivers it to the Truth. CJ heads to Las Venturas after receiving a call from Woozy, who has become a successful casino owner in the city. However, Woozy's casino is struggling due to fierce competition from the Leone, Sindaco, and Forelli mafia families from Liberty City. To prepare for the heist, CJ carries out several tasks, such as stealing dynamite, taking photos of the casino's blueprints, obtaining a swipe card from a croupier, planting explosives at the city dam, stealing police bikes for the getaway, and hijacking an armored van using a Leviathan helicopter and repainting it with the Caligula's casino logo. CJ receives a call from the Truth, who asks him to rescue Kent Paul and Macker from the desert. CJ successfully saves them and brings them to Caligula's casino, where they meet Ken Rosenberg, who is working as the manager. CJ starts working with Ken to infiltrate the mafia families and learns that Ken is serving as a neutral party for all three families, but is threatened with death if any of them start a war. CJ offers his services to Salvatore and helps him in his fight against the other two families. He first eliminates some hitmen who arrived in the city and then travels to Liberty City to assassinate the Forelli family's Don, Marco Forelli. During the mission, CJ also helps Ken, Paul, and Macher escape the mafia's grasp by faking their deaths and instructing them to flee Las Venturas. Woozy then invites CJ to become his business partner, and they start running the casino together. While in Las Venturas, CJ has a chance encounter with Mad Dog, a rapper who had fallen into depression after CJ inadvertently ruined his music career while helping OG Locke. CJ saves Mad Dog from a suicide attempt and helps him make a comeback in the music industry. Later, CJ is summoned by corrupt cops Tenpenny and Pulaski for a final job to collect a dossier and kill a DEA agent. After completing the task, CJ is double-crossed by Tenpenny, who leaves him to be killed by Pulaski. However, CJ is saved by Hernandez, a cop who had informed internal affairs of Tenpenny and Pulaski's corruption. In the ensuing conflict, Hernandez is killed by Pulaski, but CJ ultimately succeeds in killing Pulaski in revenge. After successfully running the casino with Woozy, Carl finds it tedious and decides to return to Los Santos with Kendall. Upon their arrival, Mad Dog approaches Carl and asks him to manage his career and help him regain his former glory. Accepting the offer, Carl takes back Dog's mansion from the Vagos, whom he had previously sold it to for drugs, with the help of the Triads. He then contacts Ken Rosenberg, Kent Paul, and Macher, who have also returned to Los Santos, and enlists their help in assisting Mad Dog and restoring his career. After fulfilling his final favor for Terreno, CJ is finally able to have Sweet released early from prison. He excitedly tells his brother about all the successful businesses he has acquired since leaving Los Santos, including his garage in San Fierro, the casino in Las Venturas, and managing Mad Dog's career. However, Sweet is disappointed in Carl's new lifestyle, as he feels that Carl has neglected the gang. To prove his loyalty to the gang, Carl and Sweet work together to reclaim Grove Street from the Ballas, effectively re-establishing the Grove Street families. They begin to reclaim their turf from their rivals, all while trying to track down Big Smoke. They discover that B. Dupe is working for Smoke, so CJ and Sweet confront him, but unfortunately, they don't learn anything about Smoke's whereabouts. Mad Dog finally exacts his revenge on OG Locke, who ends up going bankrupt, while Dog officially restarts his rapper career, taking almost all of Los Santos from him. After Tenpenny's arrest, he is acquitted due to lack of evidence, sparking a citywide riot in Los Santos. In the midst of the chaos, Carl assists Cesar in reclaiming his gang's territory from the Vagos, eventually making the Grove Street families strong enough for Sweet to discover Big Smoke's location. CJ asks for Sweet's forgiveness and convinces him to let him handle Smoke on his own to make amends. Carl fights his way through the heavily guarded fortress and confronts Smoke. Despite Carl's attempts to reason with him, Smoke opens fire, forcing CJ to fight back. In the ensuing firefight, Carl ultimately kills Smoke, who confesses to betraying the gang for money and boasts that he will be remembered as Big Smoke. As CJ mourns Smoke's death, Tenpenny arrives to collect Smoke's drug money and holds CJ at gunpoint, forcing him to load the money into a briefcase. Tenpenny tries to kill Carl, but he escapes and chases after him. Sweet catches onto Tenpenny's fire truck. Carl follows them in a car and manages to catch Sweet. Tenpenny loses control of the truck and crashes over the bridge at Grove Street, killing him. CJ, his friends, and his family watch as Tenpenny dies. The Truth congratulates Carl on beating the system, and they head into the Johnson house to celebrate their victory over Tenpenny and the end of their long and arduous journey. Carl, Sweet, Kendall, and Caesar gather to discuss their plans for the future when Mad Dog, Ken Rosenberg, Kent Paul, and Macher arrive. Mad Dog shows off his first gold record, and everyone joins in the celebration. However, Carl decides to step out and check out the neighborhood. With Tenpenny's death, the riots come to an end, and the city of Los Santos is finally on its way to recovery. Thanks for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, consider hitting a like button and subscribing to the channel. Be seeing you soon.